We're back here in the Garden of Patagonia. The scenery is stunning and track always a pleasure for the riders and the fans that flock to the circuit. In MXGP, Tim Gajser, who has tasted victory here twice before, will be hoping to make it a hat-trick of GP wins to start the season. While the chasing pack know they have to cut out the mistakes if they want to beat the four-time world champion to the top step of the podium. The scene is set. This is the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the third round of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. We're just outside the town of Villa Langostura in the Nahuel Huapi National Park. And as you can see, we are surrounded by absolute beauty here in the hills. The last time we came to this part of the world, March 3rd, 2019, for the opening round of the series back then, where the winners on that occasion were Jorge Prado in MX2 and Tony Cairoli in MXGP. But if Prado is to win again at this wonderful circuit, he'll have to be on the very top of his game to beat the current points leader, Tim Gajser, who along with Pauls Jonass and the absent Jeffrey Herlings is a two-time winner here at Neuquén. It's only the sixth time that we've ventured here, but every single one of the races that we've had here in this part of South America, which on a track which is widely regarded by the riders as one of the best, if not the best track in the World Championship, due to its wide flowing layout. Probably feels a bit more open for the riders, of course, but previous years are anything to go by. And what we just saw in MX2 race a moment ago, the racing should be both fast, furious, and full of excitement. So strap yourselves in for the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. There's a quick look at the map. 85 metres into turn 1, the dark grey zone is sector 1, sector 2 then through the waves, sector 3 the twisty bits in the woods, and then sector 4 back towards the finish line. Tony Cairoli, Jorge Prado, you winners last time out when we were here in 2019. We've got a packed house here, and they are enthusiastic as well. But before we go anywhere, let's take a look behind the scenes at Standing Construct, Husqvarna Factory Racing.
So I've just arrived at this incredible hotel in Patagonia. Now, as well as admiring some of the amazing views it has, I'm going to catch up with the guys from the Standing Construct Husqvarna Factory Racing team. Pauls, it was a difficult off-season for you, not only physically, but I guess emotionally as well. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, for sure, like the off-season wasn't the greatest. I think the last 2 months mentally has been the toughest for a long time. We had a few fights with my girlfriend because I was quite annoying, because I was just at home sitting and crying that I cannot ride, you know, and I cannot do proper training.
Well, we saw you in Mantova. I spoke to you before the first race and you told me you had no expectations. Did you have some expectations?
That race was really that I just want to get through it, just improve with the riding again. Unfortunately, the wound came open in the first moto and couldn't ride the second moto. The season is long, but anyway, you just want to be there. It's like I'm a racer and I want to be at the races and perform at my best. And when you cannot do that, it's really tough.
Absolutely. Well, we're here in Argentina. It's another weekend. Give us an update on your hand, because we've had a weekend off, and how are you feeling coming into this round?
The biggest problem at the moment is just I'm missing the riding time, but I'm feeling good, you know. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be at the races and just go out there and have some fun. You know, this is one of my favorite tracks, one of my favorite places, so I'm just happy to be here. You
won here in your MX2 days as well, so fond memories coming back.
I had some good memories here, some GP wins. I had my second podium also in MX2. This track and this place brings good memories, so I think that also brings, like, let's say, extra motivation.
So Brian, it's like your second year in the team. How's it going? Are you feeling more settled? You had a great result in Mantova. Were you expecting that?
That first race I was fourth, like most of the race, but then I was riding so stiff, and then on the end of the race I had to give some places. But the second moto, I was again in that place, even in the third place, and then I could hold on, you know, for the mind and everything. This is very good.
You know, after the result in Mansfield, looking at your results, it has been a long journey, hasn't it?
It's been a really hard time, yeah. In 2020, I got a little bit, you know, better and better every time, and I felt, yeah, comfortable again. Now, you know, you see I'm coming back slowly, and but yeah, I still believe I can be in that place, and I showed it.
You're going to be a dad. It's going to change everything for you. How are you going to manage it all with your career and also the timing of it? When is the baby due, and what if you're away at a race?
Normally it's 7th of July, and we come back from Indonesia 4th. When it's earlier, then I have a problem. But we already spoke about this, you know, and yeah, we agreed when I'm good in the standings, I have to do my job. In the sport, to take care of your family is with good results.
We'll talk about Brian Bogus in just a few moments, because obviously not a good qualifying race for him. But before we do, riders coming in from their sighting lap in MXGP. Lisa was down on the grid before they left, and she caught up with Jorge Prado and Jeremy Seewer.
So we just had some electrifying racing in that first race, but we're almost ready for MXGP race 1. Let's touch base with a couple of guys. The first being Monster Energy Yamaha MXGP rider Jeremy Seewer, mainly because that's a pretty cool kit you're wearing. Tell us about it, Jeremy.
What, you know, not much to say. Diego Maradona, Argentina, the best fans in the world, you know. It feels amazing to show up like this in those colors. Yeah, it's just a nice feeling. Not too much to say.
Oh, it looks good, and the fans will love it, I'm sure. Let's talk about qualifying. Solid day for you at the office.
Yeah, very solid day. I mean, second in all the sessions, you know, just solid. But now, yeah, track is sketchy, you know. Let's see what it brings, how I feel today. But I'm all good. I'm looking forward for racing, and yeah, it's looking good today.
Best of luck. Thank you, Jeremy. Let's now speak to Red Bull Gas Factory rider Jorge Prado. Jorge, this is almost like a second home GP for you, isn't it? I know that you hadn't even got off the flight and you had fans waiting for you at the airport. Just tell us about the welcome that you've had from the Argentinian fans.
Well, to race here in Argentina, it's always very nice for me. Obviously, speaking Spanish, I have good connection with the whole fans. I have so many supporters over here, and I love it. You know, the support over here, it's crazy. You could see the fans are going crazy when we are riding, and this year it's amazing to see so much crowd, and it's nice for the motorcyclists, it's nice for the sport, and obviously also for us, for the riders.
Let's talk a little bit about the track here in Patagonia. I mean, it's quite an unusual soil, isn't it? I mean, it's quite hard underneath, and you've got like almost like a soft volcanic soil on the top. It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this track is quite special. The dirt, it's you can only find it over here. Like you said, it's kind of like volcanic dirt, and it's like soft on top and then hard underneath. But they make a quite good track preparation. I feel like this year it's a bit softer than usual, so it's looking good, and hopefully we can make 2 solid races.
Have a great race. Thanks, Jorge. Good luck to all the guys. It's time for MXGP race 1.
As always, shortly after that, the riders disappeared out on track for their sighting lap ahead of their first race. 30 minutes plus 2 laps coming up next. Round 3 then of the FIA Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Patagonia-Argentina here, and just outside of Villa Langostura. Take a look at the championship standings as we head into this third round. Tim Gajser, very much the form man at the moment. A win, 2 seconds, and a first from the first 2 rounds puts him on 94 points, so just 6 points shy of the maximum available. Jorge Prado is 12 points behind the HRC man, having picked up a couple of wins himself, but a 4th and a 7th in race 1 in Great Britain and race 2 in Italy have been the difference. Maxime Renaux comes here 3rd ahead of Jeremy Seewer, Brian Bogus, Thomas Kjær-Olsen, Ruben Fernandez, Jeremy Van Horbik, Glenn Koldenoff and Albi Ferrato. Riders down there getting ready to go out and do battle. As we look at Maxime Renaux here, here's what happened in the MXGP qualifying race yesterday afternoon. MXGP qualifying race then, and all eyes over on the right-hand side, the left as they went down the start straight. Tim Gajser, Jeremy Seewer in that Argentina football kit. Jorge Prado alongside him, and all of a sudden, running outside, Glenn Coldenhoff, as Pauls Jonass had a stab down the inside. Gajser with the onboard GoPro, getting pushed back to 5th initially, as Coldenhoff led his Yamaha teammate, Jeremy Seewer, heading up over the first of 3 jumps down his back straight. Gajser quickly got himself up into 3rd, and then 2nd with that sweet move on Seewer, as everybody else came through the rhythm section into the waves. Charging downhill though, and past the finish line, and all of a sudden, opening lap, Brian Bogers and Jed Beaton, they both crashed out, as one of the Argentine riders also got caught in that melee. Brian Bogers will not line up today though, a separated shoulder, and then problems for Gajser whilst leading. That allowed Seewer to go through. Turns out that it was a problem with the back brake. Gajser then pretty much a sitting target as riders started to close in on him. Then the battle for the lead changed hands here. Seewer moved past his teammate Coldenhoff, and he was bringing Jonass with him. Jonass hard charging on the standing construct Husqvarna, who then moved into 2nd position as he eased by the 259 at turn 1, and then this mistake from Seewer allowed Jonass to get alongside and into the lead with about 3 laps to go. Being told to focus, Pauls Jonass did exactly that. And as he started to just pull a little bit of ground, he did go on to win, for the first time in MXGP, a qualifying race. Shot by Barvo, just checking his morning's work. Anyway, riders down there behind the gate. Here's how they line up then. Pauls Jonass, the Latvian, on the standing construct Husqvarna. His first pole position in MXGP, his first since Turkey 2018 in MX2. That was 3 rounds to go, of course, back then. So good job, Pauls Jonass, and obviously feeling very, very comfortable. Jeremy Seewer goes to the line 2nd, ahead of Prado, Maxime Renaux, Thomas Kjær-Olsen, Coldenhoff, Gajser. Lucky to come away with 7th, actually, riding around those problems. And then Ruben Fernandez, Honda 114. Jeremy Van Horbig on the SDM Corsa Beta goes to the line 9, ahead of Tixier, Jacobi, Evans, Ferrato, Watson, and the rest of the guys, as you can see. Just 1 or 2 Argentines in there then. Jorge Prado, Red Bull Gas Factory Racing, lines up behind the gate. 3rd in the qualifying race yesterday. He has been on the podium both in Great Britain, 2nd overall, 3rd overall in Lombardia last time out. Can he get on the podium again today? Can he win in front of the Spanish-speaking fans? Jeremy Seewer, though, in that retro football kit, would love to be on the podium at the very least here in what is his 149th consecutive Grand Prix start. Pauls Jonass, your qualifying race winner, standing construct Husqvarna Factory Racing. Had a tough time so far this year, missed the first round, could only do 1 race at the 2nd round in Italy after the stitches in the arm came open, so he couldn't race. Maxime Renaux, defending, or the reigning MX2 world champion. He's 3rd in points at the moment and was 4th in the qualifying race on Saturday. He's just 5 behind Prado in that fight for 2nd in the championship. Tim Gajser looking solid as it stands at the moment. He has won back-to-back the first 2 rounds this season, and he has a 12-point lead going into this first race. Ruben Fernandez, he did the GoPro lap for us, stopped on the tabletop after the wave section right there in front of the fans, and the Spaniard clearly enjoying doing the GoPro lap for us yesterday. What can he do, though, as he is 7th in the championship, just 9 points behind Thomas Kjær-Olsen, and those two should move ahead of Brian Bogers, who is not lining up for race 1 today. A separated shoulder yesterday after that crash with Jed Beaton. Beaton will line up. His bike was more damaged than he was. The 15-second, the Fly Racing 15-second board up then for the first time today. Who will it be that grabs that all-important Fox Holeshot? Jorge Prado has 3, Henri Jacobi has 1. Jorge Prado currently on 103 Fox Holeshots so far in his career. As the 5-second board turns, Jonass focused over on that right-hand side as we get ready to go into the first turn. Around the outside, Jacobi getting bumped and bounced to the outside, but I'm not sure if it was it the 43 or the 70? I think it was Fernandez, wasn't it, right in there? Maybe even Evans. But it's Renaux who leads the way, and it was Fernandez. So a toss-up between Fernandez and Renaux, but it's going to be, oh, I tell you what, if Fernandez leads down the rhythm section here for the first time, as Jonass looks to go through, the crowd are going to erupt. And it is Fernandez who leads. Jonass is in second place. Renaux has been pushed back to third. Ziwa fourth. Gajser in fifth place. Oh, he's just got to keep his emotions in check here as Ruben Fernandez. Pauls Jonass won the qualifying race yesterday. He knows. Oh! And immediately Ruben Fernandez crashes out spectacularly. Just asking too much. Jonass leads then. What a blow for Fernandez. Pauls Jonass, he won't mind too much though. He has a clear track ahead of him at the end of this opening lap. Renaux right there second. Ziwa in the football strip of Argentina in third. Gajser in fourth. Jacobi, Olsen, Prado, Evans, Van Horbik and Watson. Get him over the line for the first time officially though. And it is PJ who leads. Renaux second, Ziwa third, Gajser, Prado, Olsen, Jacobi, Evans 8, Van Horbik 9, Koldenhoff 10, Watson 11, Tixier 12, Jed Beaton 13, Ferrato, Lautaro Toro is next, but Ruben Fernandez, he crosses the lowest still wait for him to cross over the line at the moment. And he will be 27th if he does even pick himself up. So I think his bike went off the track, and he is through the first 2 or 3 sectors actually, so he is up and running, but he's going to be a long way down, 35 seconds off the lead. Meanwhile, Jonass, who had 1.5 seconds over Maxime Renaux and Jeremy Ziwa, all of a sudden has little breathing space. Here is Ruben Fernandez, the number 70 for Honda 114 Motorsports. Emotions got the better of him. Here's what happened. He gets out of here, back end just works overtime once, twice, folds the front and launched himself off the track and into the fence. Here's what it looked at from our moon camp. The Spanish fans would have gone from yay to nay in one corner. Meanwhile, back at the sharp end, Jonass still leads on the standing construct Husqvarna. The two Monster Energy Yamahas, Renaux, Ziwa right there, the HRC Honda for Gajser, and the Red Bull Gas of Prado. As we've seen in MXGP, the race, not so much of a sprint as a game of chess really. Get the first few laps out of the way, just find your feet, don't take those risks. And then kind of plot your route to the front. Prado, bottom of screen now. Just behind him, the Diga Procross KTM of Thomas Kjær Olsen. He's in 6th ahead of the HRC of Evans, coming into land any moment now, just in the background. He's ahead of the JM Honda of Henri Jacobi. And the SDM Corsa Beta of Van Horbik in 9th. Then we've got Koldenhoff in 10th place. Gajser closing in on Ziwa as they enter the wave section. Prado has got Olsen for company. Ziwa looking good there at the moment in 3rd place. But can he deal with the threat of Gajser behind him? Back through the dip, over the floater, and then into the bitchy tabletop step up, if you like. Teros being pulled here. You go around the outside into the rhythm section, you can double on. Ziwa just a little bit offline there, and then double out. Otherwise it's inside and tripling from left to right through that rhythm section. High speed back straight here. They left the bumps overnight, just fixed the jump faces. Gajser tripling in from back end, getting a little bit loose on Siwa's Yamaha. Gajser goes to the inside, doesn't really gain too much there though. Three laps complete. Pauls Jonass with the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:42.6. Maxime Renaux 1:44.03. Siwa 44.2. Gajser 43.9. And Jonass 2.7 seconds clear of Renaux at the moment. Prado losing time. He was, what, 45.2 compared to Gajser's 43.9. And finds himself 2 seconds adrift of the Slovenian. Back of the screen, Olsen coming towards us over the Dragon's back. He's around the outside of Jorge Prado. He's got wider waves though to the outside, so Prado should be good here till the end of the straight. And he is just managing to hang on to that 5th place. So Prado 5th, Olsen 6th. The Dane really finding his feet in this MXGP class. Oh, and then he just runs a little wide, hands an advantage back to the Spaniard. So 23.5 minutes, still plenty of time left to run in this first MXGP race, of course. Prado, your lead rider in shot, he occupies 5th place at the moment. Thomas Kjær Olsen was faster than him in the first split, though, by about half a second. And again, about another 10th in Sector 2. Prado responding, though, in Sector 3 with the fastest Sector 3 time of the race. Olsen lighting up the back end there as he works his way into the final turn. Meanwhile, Gajser breathing down the neck of Jeremy Siwa as those two fight in the first turn for 3rd place. Maxime Renaux 2nd, but out of sight at the moment, the 41 of Pauls Jonass on the standing construct. Husqvarna as Gajser charges up the inside of Siwa, takes over 3rd place on lap 5. Shows him a bit of rear wheel attitude as well in the process. Watch this here, turn 2, straightening up, almost like a double apex. Gajser just on the gas, gets alongside the Yamaha. Made the pass happen before the first jump. And Gajser now up in the 3rd place. Here's Jonass coming towards us, bottom of the screen. Maxime Renaux 2.3 seconds further back at the start of the lap. Gaining a little bit of an advantage though in Sector 2. As, whoa, Gajser back end just misbehaving there. The track goes very hard on the drop down into that gully. In the back end, there's almost a shiny bit of ground there that you saw the back end light up on. He's got clear track now though. There's Gajser. And when he's in this kind of mood, it takes a brave man or person to bet against him, closing down those ahead of him and picking up a race win. The theme of his riding this year so far, Gajser, has been just to compose himself early on, not take those risks. And he's got that belief, hasn't he? The HRC rider, currently 3rd, that he feels he's the best rider out there at the moment. Meanwhile, Henri Jacobi in 8th place. You've got Van Hoorbeek and Koldenhoff right there behind him. These guys then fighting over 8th place. Henri Jacobi confirmed as the JM Honda Racing rider then, confirms himself as the Fox Holeshot winner in race 1. 2nd of the season. But Koldenhoff trying to find his way past, and he does. So the Hoff surges past the German. Holden Koff. And Henri Jacobi now up in the 8th. Down to 9th, sorry. Little stop and go there. For Maxime Renaux. Gap 2.05 seconds between Jonass and Renaux as they hit the line at the end of lap 6. So all of a sudden, gap between 1st and 2nd just coming down. bringing Gajser with them in third. This was Van Hoorbeek nipping up the inside of Jacobi as well, who got just shoved wide off the track, loses another position in quick succession. Jacobi. Right, lap 6 in the books. Pauls Jonass, a 44.1 last time around. It's a 43.7. He's responding to the threat from behind. He's back out to 2.3 seconds clear of Maxime Renaux. Gajser, about three quarters of a second or thereabouts behind. Or 1.3 seconds, sorry. As Jonass just on the attack. A two-time Grand Prix winner here in the past in his MX2 days. Would love to make it a hat-trick of Grand Prix victories. Plenty of... Would love to do it, obviously, but there's plenty of racing still to run. Jordi Tixier this time around the outside of Henri Jacobi. Oh, come on, boys. I know they say Rubin's racing, but that was very close. And Jacobi, tank slapper as he comes into the turn as well. He is riding with a recovering scaphoid injury, don't forget. Handlebar just getting shook loose as he hit those braking bumps. So Jacobi, those two, Tixier and Jacobi, were already in 10th and 11th place, so just maintaining that position, Jacobi. Meanwhile, the battle for second between Maxime Renaux and Tim Gajser. Just behind him in fourth place, Jeremy Seewer. Not letting these two off the hook so easily. And if you're wondering about the ground here, it looks nice and soft and loamy out the back. It's not sand, it's just loose volcanic dirt that's got a hard edge to it underneath. So you'll see the riders struggling for traction here and there, and that's why those bumps now down past pit lane and other places on the racetrack are just very hard edged and high speed as well. Front and back ends working overtime. Light through there. Gajser gets straightened up though and gets stood up as he takes off on the face of the jump. Back markers coming in thick and fast. I think we've got an Argentine football team pretty much in support riders here. Watch this here, just there, wasn't expecting it. Pauls Jonass, we've not seen too much of the standing construct Husqvarna rider at the moment, but he's 2.7 seconds clear of Maxime Renaux. Yes, there are 17 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Does he have the fitness to stay there? So a lot of questions going to be asked in the second half of this race as far as Pauls Jonass is concerned. He felt fine yesterday, felt great. All of his problems that he's had, none of them surfacing yesterday. Oh, he was short there though. Have to seat bounce your way onto that plateau. Here's Jeremy Seewer. That Alpine Star limited edition kit. Only has 3 race shirts, 1 for the qualifying race, 1 each for the 2 races today. That's it. You just keep over to the left, sir, and we'll be fine. Right, 8 laps complete. 2.9 seconds separate the first 3 riders then. Pauls Jonass, Maxime Renaux and Tim Gajser, but it's 1.6 now between first and second of PJ and Maxime Renaux. Gajser has these guys right where he wants them, he would feel. Keeping everything straight. No showboating. Plenty of time for that on the last lap if necessary, but Renaux, your MX2 World Champion from last year, second in the race, second rider in shot. Just there, 959, Monster Energy Yamaha. That's the 4-time World Champion and current championship leader, Tim Gajser, Team HRC. Just bearing down on him now. They've broken 3 from Jeremy Seewer to the tune of about 3 seconds. Prado another 3 seconds further back at the start of the lap. the Red Bull gas rider. Where's Ruben Fernandez? Well, Fernandez in 15th place. You'd expect him to get into the points from where he was. But the Spaniard falling on the first lap whilst leading. Gajser, nice through there. Solid on the landing. Back end just stepping out as he hops into that little left turn. 3/4 corners from the line. Tim Gajser. Slight bubble there and a bit of uncertainty for Maxime Renaux. That allows Gajser to close in at the end of lap 8. And now he looks nervously across the pit lane. So Maxime Renaux, he knows he is a sitting target here, and Gajser just getting ready to pick him off for second place. Unless, of course, the Frenchman can regroup. That's exactly what he will try to do. That's what he will hope to do. Maxime Renaux, who won his first ever qualifying race in MXGP at the first round of the championship at Matterley Basin, where he went on to finish 4th overall, but he improved with a podium last time out, 2nd in Lombardia. Gajser not letting him off the hook though. Front end high to 959. Another mistake then for Renaux. Doesn't want to give up the position to Gajser. This is obviously playing into the hands now. This battle here as the back end again comes around once and twice on Gajser through that turn. Saw something similar in MX2 race earlier on. Of course, I won't tell you what happened there or who the rider was. Watch this here. Gajser gets on the gas, hard and slick, and then all of a sudden, look at that, bouncing around. And actually, similar to what happened with Ruben Fernandez right at the start of the race. He was a little bit more over to the left, though, on the exit of the turn and more in the bottom of the dip before he got sprung into action and out the ejector seat. The gap coming down between Jonass and Renaux once more, 1.8 seconds. Gajser is 3rd. There he is in red for Team HRC. Siwa 4th, Prado is in 5th. We're waiting for Olsen to get over the line, about 3 seconds behind the Spaniard for Diga Procross KTM. Then Evans, a fantastic ride for the Australian in 7th place. Teammate to Gajser, of course. He's a little bit adrift though of Olsen. In fact, Van Hoorbeek has gone through on him into 7th place. Evans now fading to 8th, Coldenhoff 9th and Tixier 10. Jacobi 11th ahead of Alberto Ferrato. Beaton 13th for F&H Kawasaki, then Ben Watson on the factory Kawasaki, and then Fernandez. He is in 15th place. Both, we've seen Van Hoorbeek go through on Evans, but Coldenhoff and Tixier also closing in on the Australian as well. He's currently in 8th place at the moment. Maxime Renaux hanging on to this 2nd place, doing a fantastic job keeping the 4-time world champ behind him. Oh, he doesn't double there though. And I don't think Gajser did either, did he? Reacting to what the rider ahead of him did. Here's Jonass leading the way, number 41. He was 1.8 clear of these two at the start of lap 11, which is about to come to an end now with 11 minutes to go. And Pauls Jonass, a 1:45.414, 2.3 seconds clear again. So another good reaction from the former MX2 world champ from 2017. Beautiful racetrack here at Villa Langostura. Jonass, a 2-time Grand Prix winner here in MX2 in the past. The first time came in 2017. Again, back-to-back in 2018, both of those in MX2. Tim Gajser also winning in 16 and 17 in MXGP. And Jonass has gone down. There was a rider down. I wasn't sure if it was Jonass. And obviously we're just picking it up there. So all of a sudden we have a new leader on lap 12. And Jonass now in 3rd place. Watch this here. Just out of control there, coming out of the turn. Back end looked like it took off on him and swung around to the left. So Pauls Jonass then needs to regroup, but he's got to leave himself a lot of work to do as Maxime Renaux now leads from Tim Gajser. Both riders would have seen Jonass on the deck. Oh, that's nice from Gajser. Just doubling his way from a little braking bump or an accelerating bump there, and actually Siwa doing the same thing. So from that split section at the top of the hill, using that to launch down to a landing ramp. And Siwa's gone through as well. So Siwa now to 3rd. Nine minutes to go. Can he regroup? We've got Prado there as well, coming in hot on the 41. So the 41, the 91, the 41, the 61, 3rd, 4th and 5th. But just going down after that fall, Jonass needs to breathe, regroup, dig back in, and just get back to the kind of lap speed that he was turning in a few moments ago. A lot more easy said than done, though, of course. So Maxime Renaux leading the way in this MXGP race 1 here, round 3 of the FIA Motocross World Championship. Hasn't led a lap yet this year. Those laps being led by Jorge Prado, Tim Gajser and Jeremy Siwa. And obviously Pauls Jonass up until the time he went down. But Gajser looking menacing and closing in now on the Frenchman. Can he keep his calm, his nerve? Can he force Gajser into making a mistake as he tries to find his way past? See the different rhythms through there, and again, look how decisive that was from Gajser. Closes back in on the rear wheel of the Monster Energy Yamaha. This racetrack always throws up some fantastic racing. And we're getting again served up on a gold platter here in this first inning. There's that line, look, sneaky little line. Nervous times as the leaders come through. Be smart. That's the message for Maxime Renaux. Just over a second between him and Tim Gajser. Back marker splitting them as they go into turn 2, but Gajser losing a little bit more ground there as one of the wildcard riders just a little bit hesitant to get out of the way there. This is very composed from Maxime Renaux at the moment. Throws waves very gnarly towards the end now. Gajser, tell you what, just flicking out the rear wheel there, coming in nice and low and hot as well. He's looking to ramp it up in the next 6.5 minutes plus 2 laps. Another back marker put between him and the race leader, Maxime Renaux. Costing him just a little bit more time. Doesn't want to overjump, but there he goes down the inside. Good part of the racetrack this for Gajser. Closes back in. You can see the roost off the Yamaha not even settled by the time he goes through that turn. In fact, half a second quicker through sector 3 alone. Watch here, Bratt now stepping down off that little inside kick. Right, blue flag's being waved. All of a sudden, 1.079 seconds down to 0.6. And you can see visibly Gajser closing in more and more on Maxime Renaux. And it's always the second half of the line. He was a bit heavy there, coming in hot was Gajser. Siwa 3rd, Jonass 4th. There is the 61 of Prado. And the 91, colours of the Argentina football strip, Jeremy Seward. He's in third place. Again, nothing in it between these two. Track just starting to get a little bit gnarly. That first wave on the entry point and through there, that final double at the end of the straight, really starting to chew up and cause the riders some problems. Even the little ruts there, that was where Jonass fell whilst he was leading. Fans appreciative of the action out on track at the moment, urging both these guys on. Do they want Renaux or Gajser to win this one? Who knows? Seat bounces his way on perfectly this time around, and again, different rhythms for these two. But look how Gajser just carries more momentum in to the outside and then cuts back to the inside. Got a lot of tricks up his sleeve on that part of the racetrack. Oh, he was short there, though, on the step up. Might just give a couple tenths to Renaux this time around. And again, two more problems for Gajser. All of a sudden, maybe just pushing too hard. We'll find out in the final sector here, but it was 6 tenths the gap at the start of this lap 15, and it's visibly farther than that now as well. In fact, more than a second, 2.4 seconds. So sector 4 alone, 24.5 for Renaux, 26.2 for Gajser. He's got to go digging once again. Clean through there, though, more so than he was a lap ago. Prado still in 5th position, a couple of seconds down on Jonass. That corner very deceptive. You see them go through there, but actually it's longer the gap than it looks. Race 1, get this one out of the way, get a good solid result, set yourself up for race 2. That's what all of these guys inside the top 5 will be doing. Even Thomas Kjær-Olsen in 6th position. Right, through the waves. Jonass has got himself back in control. Prado will still believe that he can do something about Jonass, and I tell you what, old Olsen, TKO, he hasn't gone far away, has he? Look, just looming in on the 61 here. Now, number 19. So the Diga Procross KTM, the big Dane, he's believing in himself here. And here he is. Prado just riding a little bit tight in this first race, possibly. I know he's ridden well in front of his home fans in Spain last year into Xanadu, but I wonder how much of this South American crowd, you know, massive Spanish-speaking country, has just maybe, I don't know, just causing a little bit of pressure for him to do well. Who knows? Anyway, 2.5 seconds, that gap between Renaux and Gajser. Going to be 4 laps to go, isn't it, from this point? His lap time's 1:45. We're already into this lap. Looking smooth at the moment, though, Renaux. Just focusing on himself. Sector 1. He loses about 3 tenths, though, to Tim Gajser at that time around. And Sector 2. We'll have to keep an eye on those times any moment now. 24.4, and as Gajser goes through, 24.2, so pulling back another couple of tenths. Fernandez being lapped there in 15th. That's where he fell on the opening lap. Right, Gajser, bottom of his screen. Using it outside, double on, double into the next turn. From about now, though, he's normally very fast, very efficient. It's going to be 3 long laps, though, for Maxime Renaux. Has yet to win a race in MXGP. "17 laps in the books. The gap, 2.3 seconds, so still hovering around the 2-second mark between the top 2 riders on track. 11 race wins in MX2, yet to find that first one in MXGP. Will that be the thing that just unlocks this championship even more so for Maxime Renaux, who currently sits third in points at the moment? Second, if you take into consideration where he is right now. So, Gajser, 3/10 gained back through that first sector. Then through the waves. Just keep an eye on both riders there as they pass the enthusiastic crowd there. Just running in hot though. Gajser in that previous right-hander. Renaux looking up, sees a couple more back markers right in his line of sight. They will try their best, but he's going to have to split both of them here on the biggest jump on the racetrack. Nervous moments for both he and Gajser, but he goes through perfectly. And Gajser riding the top edge of the berm there, almost off the side of the track. Again, looking at the sectors, 3/4 pull back in sector 2 for Gajser. Was quicker again in sector 3. So this gap is not going to be 2.3 seconds anymore, and you can see that visibly on screen. So another big 2 laps then for both Renaux and Gajser as they hit the Monster Energy finish line now. A 1:46.1 and a 44.9, the gap just over a second, and Gajser, you have to say, looking in control at the moment in that second place. All of a sudden here, Jorge Prado in 5th place, under pressure from TKO. Jonass in 6th place now. So we've got Renaux, Gajser, Seawer 3rd, Prado 4th, Olsen 5, Jonass has fallen to 6th. A 1:52.4, so he's obviously had an off-track excursion somewhere. So over in the 3rd sector, so mid part of the racetrack. After this jump, Gajser threatening the lead now, Maxime Renaux. Fans on their feet once again. You can hear the atmosphere all around this racetrack. Look how hard and choppy it is as they drop down in that dip. Another quick pull of the tear-offs there for Gajser. Again, Renaux just a little high, a little bit of a kick there as he took off. Goes in deep, slows himself down, but a more consistent run through that turn for Gajser at the early part of the corner anyway. Slight bobble midway through. Renaux, watch this line here, Gajser so quick through there. 1 lap to go. Renault's heart will be in his mouth. He has won races before, 11 in MX2. He's on the verge of taking his first win in MXGP though, as the reigning MX2 world champion. The gap 1.1 seconds between him and the 4-time world champ Tim Gajser, whose nerves will remain in check on this final lap. Gajser looking menacing. He has just turned it up a notch, hasn't he? Between turn 2 and 3. And he is closing on the Frenchman, who has been very cool throughout the race. He needs good drive out of here. That's exactly what he gets, and so too does Gajser. Looking to gain him a bit more momentum at the end of the waves. Nothing in it through this part of the racetrack. He can't afford to leave the door open. Holds himself nice and poised through the middle of the corner. Is there going to be heartbreak on the final lap for Renaux? And joy for Gajser. Quick look up to see if there's any traffic ahead for the Frenchman. Get this part of the racetrack out of the way. And if he's got a distance over Gajser, he should more or less be home and dry, because Gajser very efficient on this part of the racetrack. And looking good so far for Renaux. Maxime Renaux, 2 corners from the finish line here. And Maxime Renaux into the final left-hand turn. And the Monster Energy Yamaha will cross the line. He is victorious for the first time in MXGP, and that will be a massive weight off his shoulders. Gajser hangs on for second. Good race, boys. Good race. 12 career race wins now for Maxime Renaux. Congratulations from Tim Gajser. And Maxime Renaux, his last race coming back end of last year. Race 2 in Mantua, of course. Jeremy Seewer over the line in third. Jorge Prado fourth. Thomas Kjær Olsen fifth. We wait for Pauls Jonass to come through in sixth. And here he is. He'll be disappointed with that. Falling from the lead from first to third. He shakes his head. But that left arm gives it a bit of a shake. Did he fall on it again? This was the crash early on. Look, picks himself up. And then he had problems later on, so the bike just cutting out on him, so maybe too much back brake and stalling the bike. That's where he lost those other two positions. Anyway, here is Maxime Renaux, a first-time winner in MXGP.
Maxime Renaux, massive congratulations. Massive win for you, your first MXGP race win. You look pretty cool out there, but how are you feeling with a 4-time world champ breathing down your neck?
It was amazing. Super happy with the moto. I'm not 100% this weekend, but I could manage to get a good start. I think I'm Holeshot. So yeah, first Holeshot for me and first race win, so really happy with it. I dig deep and yeah, just didn't make any mistakes. I'm really happy, yeah.
Good luck for the second race. So.
Maxime Renaux then wins MXGP race 1 here at Visha Langostura, the third round of the MXGP World Championship. He does it in fine style as well. 2 seconds clear of Tim Gajser, despite the close attentions from the Slovenian. The Frenchman picking up his first win in the Premier class. Sets himself up perfectly for at least a podium, but he'll be eyeing up a win in race 2. Give you the official confirmation then of MXGP race 1. And here's how it finished in race 1. Maxime Renaux victorious in the first race here in Argentina, ahead of Tim Gajser, Jeremy Seewer, Jorge Prado, Thomas Kjær Olsen and Pauls Jonass. Then we had Jeremy Van Horbink and Glenn Coldenhoff. Jordi Tixier 9, Mitch Evans did drop to 10th as Coldenhoff and Tixier got the better of him in the latter stages of the race. Jacobi 11th, Ferrato 12th, then we got Jed Beaton, Ben Watson, Ruben Fernandez, Humberto Martin, Lautaro Toro, Nicolas Rolando, Augustin Carrasco and Vitor Dario Arco. What a fantastic atmosphere we've had here all weekend long. Take a look at some of the action then from that first MXGP race, shall we? Here's how it went down. MXGP race 1 over on the far side, but maybe more from the centre of the gate. Henri Jacobi coming in hot, and it was Jacobi who got the Fox Holeshot. Fernandez, though, pushed him wide, and it was he who got himself in a second just behind Maxime Renaux through the first couple of corners. Pauls Jonass right there in third, Seewer in fourth. But Fernandez quickly into the lead in front of the partisan crowd here. He led through the wave section on the very first lap, but 3 corners later it went wrong for the Honda 114 Motorsports rider. He would eventually come home in 15th place. Meanwhile, Tim Gajser eased past Jeremy Seewer to move into third as Pauls Jonass, who'd led for much of the race, threw it away. He picked himself up in third, then was quickly put back to fourth as Seewer went through. But up front, all eyes on the battle between Renaux and Gajser. Nothing in it between first and second. Gajser did close in. And then Jonass lost 2 more positions, about 2 laps to go, as his bike just cut out. But final lap, final turn, Maxime Renaux did hang on to take the win. His first in MXGP ahead of Gajser. Third was Seewer and Prado, rounding out the top 4 with Olsen in 5th. Take a look at the Fox Holeshot, shall we, as we look at the tremendous view from high above the racetrack here. hotels on the left side overlooking the lake. Great sunsets here, great location in those mountains, of course. And yeah, great to be back here as well. Look at that, JM Honda Racing, Henri Jacobi from the centre of the gate, picking up his second black plate. Henri Jacobi, JM Honda Racing then, the Fox Holeshot winner. He's on 2 now. So Jorge Prado has 3, Henri Jacobi has 2. Machines out on the track, fixing the waves and the jump faces. Fans going to get some liquid refreshment. And as they do all of that, let's take a look at some of the best moments from that first MXGP race, shall we? Some of the best moments then from MXGP Race 1. We'll be back in about 3 minutes, in about an hour and 3 minutes time. And when we return, it'll be for the concluding races of this Patagonia-Argentina Grand Prix. MX2 Race 2 and MXGP Race 2 coming up next. But enjoy the break. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.